All right, everybody, welcome to the. It's a little bit of a crossover tonight. Sunny Days Media Football Show crossover with a little Sunny Days in Detroit post game. So we're going to start out with that. We're going to get into some of this Jets talk tonight, right? We got big Monday Night Football matchup between the Jets traveling over to San Francisco, or really, I should say Santa Clara, to play the that red team that nobody likes, the San Francisco 49ers. Fuck them. Start with Detroit. They played the Rams last night, Sunday Night Football. Game that kind of went back and forth. I was losing my mind, biting my nails. Stomach was in. I felt good in the beginning. The Lions kind of did what they did a lot of last year. Second half lull. Did nothing offensively really in the second half. 7 points in the third quarter to start it out. Nothing until they kicked that field goal in the fourth. Ultimately, they get into overtime. They score a touchdown. They end it. First of all, Chris Collinsworth, learn the rules. If we know the rules, you're getting paid a pretty penny to say a bunch of dumb shit on NBC between the hours of 8:20 p.m. and 11. So I know, honestly, it could just be past his bedtime, in all fairness. But a lot of thoughts on that game. It was ugly. Very ugly win on the Lions' part. It was ugly on both sides. I mean, I think both quarterbacks threw a pick, and both quarterbacks probably threw 3 or 4 more balls that very could have been picked. And I know that's the case in a lot of games, but that was especially both for Goff and for Matt Stafford.
Stafford had a couple of lollipops, if you will. Yeah. I want to apologize in advance for my echo here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm working through a new studio and whatnot, so please pardon my current appearance. I also, again, we'll get into the game in a second. I want to get ahead of the stains on my beautiful white Sauce Gardner jersey. Don't make buffalo chicken in a white NFL jersey. Learn that the hard way. I'm also a fucking slob, so whatever. Yeah.
Jerry, we are live on your Facebook page, by the way.
We are live on my Facebook page. Wonderful.
I apologize.
Friends. Oh, it's all bad. Good.
I'm a bad friend.
Yeah, so Stafford was throwing lollipops, and so was Goff, dude. I texted, I think it might have been even you. I texted, I said, Goff just pissed this game away right there on that fourth quarter back-breaking interception where I definitely thought where the Rams were knocking on the door. And I was just thinking, I'm like, all right, that might be it here, because the Rams are good enough to drive down the field and do what they did, and they did, but the Lions are just better at that. This was a great game, though. I really enjoyed watching this game start to finish. It was a great rematch of what we saw last year in the divisional round, or was it the wild card?
No, wild card.
Wild card. Yeah, great game. No complaints.
Yeah, I think this is turning into, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is turning into a like Packers and Seahawks, Cowboys 49ers type like rivalry that's within but not within the division. And I said it to my wife last night after the Lions won. I said, this isn't over. We're seeing these guys in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it.
I don't think it's necessarily the same as those other rivalries in the sense of bad blood. I think it's just a matter of the history surrounding the matchup with the Goff and Stafford trade and whatnot.
Right. And it's
two teams are both unbelievable.
It's by the fans. And really more so by one fan base, because the other one fan base, their fan base was in St. Louis, and they left that almost a decade ago.
No, big facts.
I'll say this about last night's game. First and foremost, just win, baby. Right? Like, doesn't matter how you do it, just win. Now, you keep winning ugly, it's going to catch up to you, and I'm not ignorant of that fact. But at the same rate, it's September. It's week 1. A lot of good teams can lose week 1. And that could come back to bite you in December and January, right? So for me, I don't really care how they won. They did. That being said, I do believe the Lions got, I wouldn't say lucky because it was the right call, but that helmet-to-helmet call on the Sam Laporta hit in the fourth quarter that propelled them into field goal range, that bailed them. And then I'll be honest, like them winning the coin toss. If they don't win the coin toss and they have to go out there and defend against Matt Stafford Cup, dipping and dunking their way down the field with Kyron Williams, I don't know that the Lions win that game. I'm just being honest, and I'm happy that they won and they earned that win. But to me, that's I made.
And I understand where you're coming from with that concern, but also at the same time, let's not neglect what the Lions did in the offseason. They recognized what was wrong with their roster and they went out and they fixed it. I can't name names here because I'm not that good at that type of stuff, and I should be because I have several football shows, but you picked up a lot of big pickers on the defensive end of the ball, and I think it was more than noticeable. I texted you in the first half, may have jinxed it a little bit, but I said, yo, that Lions defense is looking pretty damn good right now, and they were. Yeah. They had a phenomenal second half, and we talked about this all last year, in true Lions football nature, not to step on the 3-1-3 guys' toes here, but I always feel as if the Lions mantra is ball the fuck out in the first half and then let your foot off the gas in the second half. We saw that point blank last night.
Yeah, Brendan is jumping in the comments here. He was one of the guys they added.
Big Bad Bob.
Amik Robinson is another one, Robertson. And, I mean, the guy that impressed me the most last night, outside of, right, Dave Montgomery stole the show at the end of the game.
Monty, we'll get into that in a second.
Listen, man, I'd love to they did a lot of that in the end of last year. I see more of you giving the ball to Gibbs early. And then, because, like, the reason they won, I mean, outside of the coin toss and the Sam Laporta penalty, what helped them win that game was just physics, right? Like biology. The guys on the other side of the ball were gassed. And you had David Montgomery, who maybe up to that point only had 11 touches on the ball that game. So he comes in like a bulldozer, and they had no answer. I mean, the Lions were quite literally telegraphing to the Rams what they were going to. Like, it's very unlike any Lions offense that you've seen in the past, particularly with Matt Stafford, right? With Matt Stafford, it was always, we're going to try to hit you over the head with a Calvin Johnson, with a Golden Tate, and that's how we're going to win the game, right? On a miracle throw toward the end zone. Last night, they basically lined up in time and the fourth quarter, and they told the Rams, we're going to give it to David Montgomery. He's going to go A or B gap. He's not doing anything special, and there's nothing you could do in the game. That Rams D line was gassed, and the absence of Aaron Donald on that D line. I mean, I know they couldn't shut the fuck up about it. No, you noticed it for sure.
You noticed it for sure. You know who benefited the most? Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell had himself a goddamn game last night. I know he's an all-pro offensive tackle, but Penei Sewell looked like a rock star. But going back to your defensive line in Detroit, there's one thing I want to comment on that I'm sure you noticed, but you guys got to cool it with the roughing the passer stuff. I love that you're finishing the tackle. I love that you're being aggressive. That's great to see, and I am all for it. But in this day and age in the NFL, that sort of play is going to hurt you a hell of a lot more than it's going to help you. And Aiden Hutchinson, he's unstoppable. He's getting in there nonstop. He had a lot of pressures last night. I'm sure he had a sack or two. I don't know his stat line.
41% pressure rating. I don't know what. All I know is it's the highest since 2021. Whatever single game pressure rating he had from PFF.
I certainly believe it. But also he had in the second half alone, I know he had 2 roughing the passer calls. I watched them both happen, and that's the type of stuff that's going to hurt you really bad down the stretch. And it almost hurt you really bad in this game. You guys got lucky, but that's the type of stuff that I think as a team you guys got to work
on. Yeah, and I think I don't know. It's just what was going on and they did nothing about it, or maybe part of that had to do with Stafford was nursing that ankle. You saw it getting taped up on the sideline second half. You saw him limping a little there.
I thought he was going to go out for a second.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's a dog. He's a fighter. But back to my point. I didn't even finish that before. The guy that impressed me the most yesterday, and a lot of guys did, Terrion Arnold, their first round pick, was all over the field, was playing physical. He was playing fast. He looked more like a free safety out there than he did a corner at the rate that he was hitting people. And, today's day and age, you got to be careful with that, right? You got to be careful with the penalties and everything else. But I thought he was fantastic. He absolutely looks NFL ready. Brian Branch picked up right where he left off. Could have had 3 picks in that game. I mean, 2 of them he dropped. And he's killing himself for it today. But he had a great game. So ultimately, if they, and I'll get into my some of the concerns specifically, and the pros here. Ultimately, if this team looks this way a month from now, I'll be concerned. Last night they won. They fell off, like I said, third, fourth quarter, and then collectively came together in the last 3 minutes in overtime, and that's what it took to win. So,
But as far as concerns go, shout out Brendan Parnell here in the chat. He and I were talking on the side last night. That's my good buddy. It's week one, and when you have to, and you said it before. It's only like when we were talking offline about what we're going to get into in a little bit. It's only week one. It's a long season. The Lions didn't play anybody in the preseason. And yeah, okay, they all went through this, they all went through camp together. They know each other. It's for the most part a very similar offense to what you saw last year. And they're all in sync and they all had the chemistry they always that brought them to the NFC Championship game. But at the same time, a lot of that first team offense did not see full full go reps. I understand that when you play in a preseason game, you're playing against a guy who's going to be bagging groceries in a week or two. But at the same time, that game speed is really going to prepare you for what's to come. And I think we saw that across the NFL. It's not exclusive to the Lions. There was a lot of sloppy play last week across the league. And it was just more noticeable there. I wouldn't jump the gun with concerns as far as that goes. I can't highlight comments, but Aaron from my co-host from Blue Shirt Banter, my Ranger show that I do, Amon-Ra needs to get in the mix. Amon-Ra at this point now is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. He needs to be. I understand that he's going to be locked down, and he's gonna. The defense is always going to know they're going to be looking for him. But at the same time, he's elite enough to be able to come up with those big time catches, just like Justin Jefferson is. Justin Jefferson has doubled every single game that he plays in, but yet they still throw him the ball, and he still comes down with it. He can make magic happen, and I think Amon-Ra's on that same exact level, a step below JJ, but still on that level.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think my only counter to that is I think what they were doing last night was what the Rams were giving them, and where and I know the fantasy owners and the gamblers weren't happy about it. It's not a good thing to see, right? You want to see your number one receiver getting the ball in his hand and doing something with it. My counter to that was a guy that a lot of people in America still don't know. Jameson Williams has 5 receptions for I think 150 yards. I forgot what the yardage was there, and a touchdown. I think what they were doing was kind of playing to what the Rams were giving them. The Rams were locking down the sun god, and that's on him to do a better job of getting open. I couldn't agree more. But if they're gonna hyper focus on your 10 number 1 wide receiver, and you've got a kid in Jameson Williams to throw to, who they clearly had no answer for, then that's what you got to do for a week. And it's not pretty from a gambling perspective. It's not pretty from a fantasy perspective. But the name of the game is wins, not just stacking statistics for a single guy. I mean, for 9 years, we had debatably the most dominant wide receiver our generation has ever seen play football. And there was nothing to show for it.
He's so good that every time me and my friends get in the bag, all we do is throw on Megatron highlights.
But that was a guy, and Megatron was tremendous. But because he was a point to that offense, what else could you remember about that Lions offense? I mean, he was potent, but as a team, they did nothing for 9 years.
I remember Dan Orlovsky, and that's Dan only because he's a reoccurring guest, a part of my guest, a part of my take. That's the last thing I remember. Him and Stafford. There was, I mean, listen, besides Megatron, I'm sorry to offend you here. If I offend you, there was nothing remarkable about that team, let alone the offense. There was nothing. Like, the Detroit Lions were a laughingstock of the league. I'm one to talk. I'm wearing green and white. We've been a laughingstock for a very long time. So,
the emergence of Williams may hurt Amon-Ra. Yeah, I mean,
I think that's a great point.
If Jameson Williams continues to do what he did last night, you're going to see a lot less of St. Brown, because J-Mo could do things that St. Brown just can't.
And then you got to. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you got to think though. at the same time, if Jameson Williams comes out and whatever becomes this big bad wide receiver, defenses are going to catch on to that and start heavying up the pressure on Jameson Williams,
Right.
and then that leaves open St. Brown, who's no
Of
longer
course.
being doubled because
Of
Jameson
course.
Williams is doubled. So now,
He-
if Jameson Williams comes out comes out and balls out for that matter for the entire season, you're going to have a solid 1-2 punch here of the likes of the Cincinnati offense here. They went to the Super Bowl. Understandably, Cincinnati had a 1-2-3 punch because they had all three pretty solid receivers. People aren't going to know who to cover.
A couple other concerns I had, and a lot of this is, like DJ Reader, their biggest offseason D tackle, he was out going into that game. I think if he's in, the looks a lot better. So hopefully we see something different this week. But my big concern coming out of this game was the pass rush. The pass rush really wasn't there. You had Aiden Hutchinson, and clearly there was a game plan for Aiden Hutchinson. Every single play, there was a running back or a tight end on his side going after him. Luckily, the referees opened their eyes, and they were able to catch a few hands to the face calls, holding calls on him, and that was big. That was big because Aiden doesn't get those. But that, for me, that their sleepy kind of offense for a quarter and a half in the second half of that game, that was a concern. But outside of that, I'm happy to come out with a win. And then as for pros, yeah, we just talked about it, Jameson Williams. And ultimately the offense was sleepy, but they clicked at the exact right time that they needed to. And last thing I'll say on this game was the whole time, and I'm usually doing this, but the whole time I'm screaming at my TV to run the ball, because the Rams had no answer for Jahmyr Gibbs. They had no answer for David Montgomery.
They're hurt. They're missing AD. They're missing AD so bad, and it's very noticeable.
And Goff clearly didn't have it last night. It was not his best game. And so that's what I want to see more of. And happy that I think they did it in the first half, and then they did it again on the drive where they scored the touchdown to end the game. They literally committed to almost on 100%. They ran the ball probably 95% to I don't know the breakdown, but they must have ran the ball in that drive 11 times.
What did I send you on Instagram this morning? I'm going to pull it up right now for the people, but that was the goddamn truth.
Yes.
If Instagram decides to load, hold on.
I just spilled coffee all over.
Nope, that's Riley Reid. We don't need to see that right now.
We don't need to see Riley Reid.
This was the game plan last night. If you could see it, run the ball through their motherfucking faces. And God damn it, did it work. David Montgomery is a workhorse and a half. And I'm very happy to see that. I always thought he was great when he was on the Bears, and he had a great season last year. But this year, I know Gibbs is in the picture, and I know Gibbs is elite and whatever. He's a speedster. He can do all this stuff. He's flashy. Montgomery is going to get you what you need. He's going to put his head down. He's going to hit the hole. He's going to get you 7 or 8 yards, maybe 3 to 5 yards. Doesn't really matter, but he's going to pick up when you need it most. You don't need a fullback when David Montgomery is on the field. I think Montgomery is a great running back for this offense. I think I don't want to say the pinnacle of Detroit football, because I think Dan Campbell really sums everything up in that sense. But, Montgomery, you can rely on Montgomery to put his hard hat on and check in and clock into work at the Ford factory Monday through Friday, then come on Sundays to Ford Field and just ball out. He's a lunch pail guy, I think.
He is. He's a dog. He's a dog. That's what he is. Now let's transition to the rest of the NFL here. We had a lot of action yesterday. Do you want to get into some of what we saw yesterday, or do you want to you're chomping at the bit? Let's get after the Jets and we'll talk about the rest of the NFL. No, we can get into
some. Game doesn't start till Monday Night Football starts at 8:15. Kickoff's not going to be till 8:45. They got to do the whole song and dance and whatever.
8:45? Are you high?
I'm being a little bit. I wish I was. Can't be high anymore. But that's neither here nor there. We're not going to get into it. It's a family show.
It's a family show. We love the kids. We love the kids. We don't diddle the kids, but we love the kids.
No. I mean, we both have mustaches, so that's
can't send mixed signals.
We don't diddle kids. All right, whatever. We're off that topic, and we're done with that. Yeah. Yesterday, I'm going to be honest with you. I felt like the quality of football yesterday wasn't exactly there, and like we
Football.
said before at the
It's week
top,
one
listen,
football.
yeah, no, it's football. I was over the moon that we're back. I love this sport. It's probably my second favorite sport behind hockey. It's so great to just dedicate my Sundays, sit my ass on the couch, and just watch 7 hours of commercial free football. I love it. There's nothing better in this world. I was working yesterday, but thankfully now I was able to secure a job that allows me, depending on the workload of the day, sit and watch football. It's phenomenal. Um, that being said, my boss and I were talking. He said, dude, this isn't a good week. A lot of these games were kind of really shit games. They were boring games. There was not a lot going on. They were either blowouts or just disgusting football going on. And, regardless, though, like you said, week one football, it's going to be like that. Everyone's still finding their tunes, doing whatever. And like I said before, a lot of these first team offense players didn't play in the preseason. So they're still getting up to speed, too. So it is what it is. This was technically their preseason. I think week two ahead of us is going to be a lot better. But that's not to say we didn't enjoy Sunday. We had the 1 o'clock slate. The Bears had a great comeback despite not scoring an offensive touchdown. The Dolphins had a pretty solid comeback. That was an entertaining game to watch.
I think that was a little more the Jaguars shitting the bed.
Yeah.
I wish Pacino. I should have texted Pacino. I would have
Poor
loved
Ant.
to hear his
that Travis Etienne fumble was just that happened, and then you just knew it was going to be like, all right, well, here come the Dolphins, and sure as shit, next play, Tyreek Hill at 80 yards to the house. That's that.
It is early, so to use certain words would be, it would be ignorant or immature of me, but I have to say and admit I was a little delighted to see the awful performance from Caleb Williams yesterday. Awful.
So
Awful.
you and I talked offline about this.
Yes,
I got to eat my words. I'm going to put my foot in my
It's
mouth
week one.
here.
It's
Yeah,
week one.
there's that. Last year, for all those at home who are loyal fans and were with us in the trenches, even though I think now we're starting to build a little bit of a following, so that's great. But last year when we had 5 viewers week to week, you heard me shit talk Caleb Williams to no end. This guy wants to be an owner. This guy wants to be this. He wants to be that. I'm sitting here saying, this guy's going to be an all-time bust. He's going to be shit. He can't play in the NFL, blah, blah, blah. And then I watched Hard Knocks. I got knocked hard so bad. The sprinklers were going. Liev Schreiber was in my ear. The dramatic music was playing, and I'm watching. I'm like, yo, the Bears are going to be the real deal. Shout out Parnell in the chat right now. I was texting him after every Wednesday morning saying, yo, the Bears for real right now? Caleb Williams looks like a superstar. They got this guy, Roma Doomsday, who's going to be a stud. They're doing this. They're doing that. They signed DeAndre Swift, and they come out and they don't lay an egg, but they don't score an offensive touchdown, and their first overall pick quarterback throws for 86 yards. And it's just like, oh, okay. And I'm sitting here again, got knocked hard. I drafted Caleb and Rome I'm in way too many fantasy leagues, but I have them on probably 4 out of my 7 teams. And I mortgaged a lot on these guys, and they were high picks. Caleb, I think, went in the 6th round, and Rome in the 3rd. And Rome had 2 catches, I think. Maybe he had 3 points, I think, in a majority
I'm not
of the
concerned
leagues.
with. I'm not concerned with Roma Dunze. He looked.
I'm concerned with Rome just because I saw
No.
today Schefter tweeted out that he got an MRI on his knee or something. I didn't even know he got hurt. So now I'm a little scared.
Shout out to Will Hickey.
I know, yeah. Will
Shout
Hickey's
out
a
to
day
Will
oneer.
Hickey.
Will's back from boot camp. He's ready to go. He'll be with us every Sunday. I know that. I disagree with that. I disagree with that comment. I think he's better than both of those two.
Well,
I think he's going to have he's going to at least have a rookie contract. I think he'll be more in the same breath as like Justin Fields or who got drafted with Mahomes that the Bears picked instead of Mahomes. He was on the Bills.
Justin Fields.
No, he's on the Bills, and I was a backup. He's a journeyman. He was on the Steelers for a little bit. I'm drawing a blank. Mitch Trubisky. He's going to be like kind of like Mitch, in that sense. If anything, I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a lot better than that. There was one flash yesterday, if anybody watched the Bears game here, where he was running the ball and he did this juke move and just broke.
So
he broke the guy in the Titans' ankles. I don't know who it was, but there was that. I see flashes.
We are a pretty welcoming and open-minded environment here at Sunny Days Media. And
Stop painting your nails to you throw for 300 yards. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen,
stop painting your nails to you throw for 300 yards.
This is a great. It could probably go on a T-shirt if someone in the comments here wants to trademark and just cut me a deal on the royalties. There are two athletes in this world that could paint their nail, get away with it, and that's any catcher in the MLB. I'm talking about male athletes, okay? And once again, we're open-minded here. We're all open-minded, but just keep this in mind. There are two athletes that could do that, and there's catchers in the MLB playing in a night game so the pitcher could see, or even a day game, I guess, painting them black. Totally get that. And then there's like Dennis Rodman. Outside of that, if you're painting your nails, you throwing for 400 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and you better be hoisting a Lombardi over your head in the end of the year. Outside the city of Chicago is to eat you fucking alive, and they're going to do it before Halloween, and it's going to happen quick, okay? Everybody was happy. The Guinness was flowing out in Chicago yesterday, and God bless you. You're a shit organization. You've been in the dumpster a long time. You had 1 year of greatness, and you were out of the trailer park, but by God, you're still living there, down by the river, in a van down by the river. That's where you are, Chicago. All right. Everything was fine and happy yesterday, but it's kind of staring them in the face. It's the elephant in the room. This guy that you not only looked lackluster or whatever adjective you want to use, you'd be right on that. This guy deer in headlights. He didn't look good. He didn't look prepared. He didn't look ready.
But he didn't get nervous. He didn't get nervous. He just felt jitters and wanted to play his first game and get it over with, and had a little bit of anxiety about what was going to happen. But he did not.
I'm not nervous. I'm just worried about letting everyone down. That's a great quote. But Chicago, I think you shit down your leg on this one. Fun fact, there was a guy that was playing in Atlanta yesterday wearing black and gold, and he didn't throw either, but his team also won. And he looked the same as what I think you're going to have in Caleb Williams. I just think.
Listen, if you're going to make that comparison, I think that's more. I think Bears fans are going to be more than happy, because if you're going to sit here and tell me that Derek Carr's not, he's not. No.
I should have said black and yellow, and I'm talking about Justin Fields, the guy you just traded and you moved on from to draft Caleb Williams first overall. It's early. I'm doing this all off a hunch, but I watched that entire game, and I don't do red zone, ladies and gentlemen. I got 3 TVs in the basement, down in the garden. I got 3 TVs. Red zone's on the back TV.
It's a man of commitment right there.
All right, red zone's on the back TV. I fully committed to Tennessee, Chicago on the main TV with the surround sound. And by God, I could not have been more happy to see Caleb Williams look the way he looked. He looked awful. Now, that Chicago Bears team, not a bad team. They've got some solid receivers. That run game, the DeAndre Swift thing is going to wear off midway through October. Mark my words.
Strong disagree.
It will. He's on it. He's like 25 years old. He's on his 3rd team in the NFL. Nobody wants him. That enough said there. You moved on. You moved on from David Montgomery to get a worse version of David Montgomery. But listen, Chicago, you do you. I think that this was a lateral move. And I think this year is going to prove it. And the noise, you saw it here in New York with Zach Wilson. Okay, Jesus Christ, and just
don't
they do
put
that,
them in the same conversation.
Just as quick as they do that, they will tear your ass right back down. Caleb Williams is going to be a fucking disaster, and it's going to get bad real quick over there.
We'll see. I don't know.
But it is early. It is
early,
and we are a big overreaction show. So tomorrow, or rather next Sunday, or really next week.
I'm excited for Sunday. I'm excited to get in Facino's ear, especially if we win tonight, dude. Me and Facino are going to be insufferable.
I hope the Jets win tonight.
Me
I genuinely do.
Me too.
Absolutely.
We'll get into it in a little bit. While Will Hickey's here, shout out weeknight football. Thursday and Friday, we had 2 solid games. Chiefs Ravens did not disappoint. And then down in Brazil, despite shitty field conditions, Eagles Packers also didn't disappoint. You're probably pretty stoked. No, maybe not.
I don't ever want to see a guy go down.
Yeah.
That sucked.
But
But
I understand that, and we don't want to root for injuries. We never want to see anyone getting hurt, especially in the knees. But that being said, Jordan Love going down is fucking gigantic for the NFC North because your one true competitor was going to be the Green Bay Packers for the division. And now that this is done, you're looking at probably, they're saying 3 to 4. It's probably going to be like more to 5 to 6, I think, until he's truly back to form. But that being said, those are 5-6 games that you're going to have in hand, hopefully, knock on wood, that you can come out on top and come out, 4-1, 5-2, whatever. And then once he gets back, then he's going to start balling and you have to worry about whatever. But these are going to be important games down the stretch. I don't know how many division games you have in the next 4 weeks, but
we're not going to see him. Keep in mind that just signed him to a contract. They're not going to rush this guy back. We talked about it yesterday on the Sunday show. They're not going to rush him back. I mean, history repeats itself, right? What did we see in 2013 or 14 with RG3? A tremendous talent that was wasted because he was rushed back, and he didn't have to be, right?
Those organizations are apples to oranges, though. The Packers run things right.
But this was a year that Green Bay thinks that they have a shot, right? They saw what the Lions just did.
They do. I don't know if you saw them. I mean, I understand they lost that game, but they look great. That Jordan Reed, Jordan Love connection was just unbelievable. I thought that's going to be big. And you want to talk about how Chicago has weapons in the wide receiver room. So does Green Bay.
Yes.
But now It depends on, if you're going to have Malik Willis throwing them the ball, it's not going to be what you need it to be. No. But if Jordan Love gets back behind center, look out.
There is going to be a tremendous amount of pressure on Josh Jacobs to carry this offense and to gallop his way. He didn't do it on
Friday. He had a bad game on Friday.
Yeah. They need it. They need it. And if the Green Packers, now they're the Packers, right? And they've got some sort of voodoo magic, or either that or they've got photos of Goodell at like one of those eyes wide shut parties. But the Green Bay Packers, mark my words, I don't care how long Jordan Love is out, they will somehow find their way back into the mix by Thanksgiving, and they may not make the playoffs, although I think they will. They will be in the playoff conversation until the season ends. Absolutely. So, it's a blow to them. They're going to have to figure something out. I think. Listen, if they could be 500 by the time Jordan Love comes back in mid-October, then they're alive. They're alive and well. Like nothing ever happened. If they're a team that has 1 win, 2 wins by that time, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard.
Look it up real quick. I want to know what their next. Let's see.
I want to say they see the Bears. It's not a super challenging road ahead of them right now.
They got the Colts next week. That's going to be a hard game.
Colts are no slouch.
That's going to be a hard game. They got the Titans the following week. I'm not going to say it's going to be hard. I'm not going to say it's going to be good. Vikings is going to be a hard game. Look out for Sammy D. Rams is a definite loss. Cardinals might be a win.
I think the Cardinals.
And then they got the Texans, which is also a loss. Cardinals look surprisingly good.
I'm not saying they're a good team.
2-15.
I'm not going to say that they're a good team, but they.
I'm not going to. Yeah, no.
They look good against the Bills.
They can
play
some football, dude. The only thing I have a question mark behind it is what's up with Marvin Harrison not being in the mix here? Let's try to figure that out a little bit, Kyler. But other than that, you beat the Bill. You almost beat the Bills, and that's saying something. I don't know if that's saying something more for the Cardinals or saying something more for the Bills, that they almost lost to the Cardinals. But to have that type of game against the Buffalo Bills, be proud of yourselves. There's something to see in Arizona.
That's my question with talking another game here. The Minnesota Vikings coming to New York. I don't buy. First of all, I had money on the.
I'm in on Sam. I'm in on Sam. Listen, you can't expect the guy to be good under Adam Gase. You can't. And Sam, another USC product here as we transition from the Caleb Williams talk 5 minutes ago. But don't sleep on Sam here. He has the best receiver in the NFL right now. all he has to do, and he didn't even do that. He utilized JJ on he definitely used him, but JJ didn't have a standout game. He didn't have 150, 175 yards or whatever. He had a touchdown. He had a good game, but Sam was dishing the rock all the way around. He was playing good football. There was no ghost. There was nothing going on. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's against, I know Will hates Marvin Harrison Jr., but that's against a really good Giants defense. And I know the Giants looked like dog shit here, but if you watch that first drive of the game, I was feeling some type of way. Again, going back to our faithful fan here, Brendan Parnell, I texted Bob, who's a diehard Giants fan. I said, "Oh, what's going on in New York right now? Are both teams going to be all right?" Because that first drive, that forced fumble into, I think they got the ball on the 25 or something like that, close to the red zone, and they shit it away. But still, there's something to be said for that New York Giants defense. And for Sam Darnold to go out there and play that type of football, this wasn't a fluke game. This wasn't we played a bottom tier team in the NFL. No, this is Sam Darnold saying, I can ball against a solid defense. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm going to keep an eye on Sam.
We're going to learn really quick because they're playing the 49ers next week. After the 49ers, they have the Texans. After the Texans, the Packers.
Minus the Packers there.
And then they play the Jets, right? You're talking about that revenge.
That's 3 out of 4 right there.
Right?
That's not an easy schedule. So, yeah, I guess we will see. He's going to run the gauntlet.
We're going to find out very quick. And then they've got to bye, and then the Lions come to town. So, and then after that, it's the Rams. It's not an easy schedule for them. But you know what? I'll give you this, Dan. Jerry. I'll give you this. Sam Darnold has the opportunity to completely reinvent his career. And I don't
100%.
know. I don't know what his contract status is in Minnesota, if he's on a 1-year deal.
He signed for, I don't know his years, but I believe he made some decent money. But you got to keep in mind here, he sat behind, he was a 49er in Shanahan. He worked with Kyle Shanahan here for a little bit, and he definitely learned a thing or two about how to run an offense. And then I forgot where he was before he was a 49er, but he was somewhere else where he was a backup and he was looking all right. Not looking all right, but in a good system. So he's been through 2 systems now after leaving Adam Gase's dumpster fire, and there's something to be said for it. I think he learned. He's in the 7th year in the league. I think he's learned a thing or two, and I think it's his time to finally shine. We saw it with Derek Carr. Derek Carr was a late bloomer, and now here he is, beating the shit out of.
Here he is being mid for the most part. He had a good game yesterday.
He had a good game.
Listen, Darnold's got the opportunity, and he's kind of all out of excuses at this point. It's his show right now. J.J. McCarthy is not coming back this year. They're not going to rush him back. They just drafted him. Torn meniscus, right? There's no reason to rush him back.
He was a Panther. That wasn't a good team. I'm sorry, guys. But he did go to an offensive guru's place with the 49ers.
Yes. So he's got his opportunity, like we said. It stunned us all yesterday. The spread on that game against the Bengals instantly was 7.5. In my eyes, Patriots killed them. I know it doesn't reflect that, but when you're a team that
they don't play well week 1, and I'm not too. I wouldn't.
I know that they don't
now. I wouldn't be too worried about anything. But yeah, that was a bad game. Good for the Patriots. The Patriots are supposed to go fucking 3-14, 4-13, whatever. They're not supposed to be good. But to beat a team like the Bengals, that looks good on the resume. Good for Gerard Mayo.
Baker looked great again yesterday.
Looked phenomenal.
Who knows how good the Commanders are going to be? They should be improved from where they were. But Baker looked great.
There was flashes for Jaden Daniels. You saw the flashes in the pan for Jaden Daniels. It was a shame he couldn't get things together, but it was there.
And the Browns just, man, if they just had a quarterback.
Jerry won money in that game. Blood money from America's team, but Jerry won money. That got me back in the green, baby.
Think of it. I bet on the Cowboys yesterday. I wonder if I had them in a parlay. I'll check that later. We're 39 minutes in here. You want to talk some Jets?
Meats and potatoes, baby. Let's get for what the people came for.
Jerry,
first and foremost,
lead us off.
First and foremost, I want to get into the breaking news. I don't know if anybody saw it. Christian McCaffrey is not playing tonight. And I'm going to go on a quick rant as a fantasy football player. I'm fucking livid. I'm livid because I had the first overall pick, my league, my home league, the BU Fantasy League. we did uh turtle races, some sort of exotic animal race that I don't know what happened. It was electric. It was absolutely electric. But I'm sitting here watching, and I turned out to have first pick. I couldn't believe it. I sat in my draft room. I texted my little brother, who's a diehard Jets fan. I texted my cousin, who's a diehard Jets fan. I texted Parnell, who is a football. I'm not gonna call him a football guru, but guy knows ball. I texted uh one other. I might have texted you. I don't know if I did or not.
Texted
I
me,
did some.
Dick. You texted
I,
me.
I did.
We
Right.
had
I
a
did.
long conversation about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
See
some
how much I
research on
matter in your
Google.
mind.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I texted a lot of people about this. It was up in my mind, and I said, "Hey, am I nuts if I take Brees Hall 1-1 over Christian McCaffrey?" And the consensus was kind of, you're not crazy, and I could see where you're coming from, but also at the same time, Christian McCaffrey is Christian McCaffrey. And what I gathered from this conversation was, yes, he's injury prone, but the risk is worth the reward, because if he comes out and does Christian McCaffrey things, you're going to regret it. And I talked to my league about it afterwards. I even said, I hate this pick. I can't believe I did it. The person with the second pick said, Dan, if you didn't do it, Jerry, if you didn't do it, I was gonna do it too. So don't worry. Like, he was going regardless, and whoever was gonna get him was gonna get him. Was what it was. So I did it. I picked him. I love Brees. I think Brees is gonna be the league leading rusher this year. I have high hopes for number 20. I'm very excited to watch him play tonight. Have him in my parlay for a touchdown. But I'm sitting here on week one down 45 points. I have Aaron Rodgers and I have CMC supposed to play tonight, and now I'm going to lose. And in this league, I have to chug a beer for the losing lowest scorer of the week has to chug a beer. I'm going to have to drink because I have no chance here unless if Aaron Rodgers balls out, which is more than a possibility. But whatever. I'm very angry about
no,
this.
don't make me chug a beer on a Monday night while I'm watching my favorite team play football. Oh no.
I'm
What a
very angry about
disaster.
this. I'm very angry about this just because I knew this was going to happen. I knew he was dealing with injuries. I knew all this stuff. I thought it was going to be different. It's not. Whatever. This always happens to me. Anyways, CMC be damned. Let's get into the game here. This is it right now. I had the opportunity to work tonight. I said absolutely not, because last Monday Night Football Week 1 opener against the Bills, I worked, and what happened in the third
Rodgers
play?
got hurt because of you.
100%, it was my fault. It was all Jerry's fault. I wasn't watching. I looked at my phone once I got done, and it said, "There goes your season." I had like 35 text messages all about the stuff. I'm like, "What happened? What did he throw a pick? He had a bad drive, whatever." Nope, he tore his Achilles and he's out for the season. We salvaged what we could. It was what it was, but here we are. We're back. It's Monday Night Football, and I think eight's going to come out, and I think he's going to throw the ball, and I think it's going to be a spectacular showing. I think 20 is going to come out. He's going to run the ball, and it's going to be a spectacular showing. I think the Jets defense is going to make Brock Purdy wish he never got under center. And I think, here's a hot take for you. I think Mike Williams is going to be a focal point of this New York Jets offense. I think Mike Williams, coming off this injury, he's an elite receiver when healthy. And I think that he's going to be a go-to guy. Going back to that conversation we had at the top of the show with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra, when you have a clear-cut number one, that number one is going to be locked down regardless of how good they are. Depending on how good they are is going to make a matter of whether they're going to be able to come up with the play or not, like Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra are more than capable of. And Garrett Wilson is in that conversation as well, despite me not being as high as other Jet fans are on him. I haven't been really impressed with his play throughout his career. I understand everything, and I know the eliteness is there, but I'm really just not too high on him. I think Brees Hall is the better offensive weapon on our team. That's just me. But I think Mike Williams is going to come out and show out, and I think that Rodgers knows that Garrett Wilson's going to be locked down, and he's going to have Mike Williams available and ready and somewhat open under his capabilities, and he's going to dish him the rock. I think there's that, and I think we're also going to be looking for an old school Packers Allen Lazard connection too. Be on the lookout for that. I know he's wide receiver 3 on this roster, but I think he's also going to be, I'm not going to say a focal point, but someone who's going to be utilized in this offense.
Wilson's got to find a way to hang on to the ball. He's had some drop issues, and
Yeah,
I don't know what his drop percentage is, but he's got to find a way to hang on to
The
that ball.
only thing that you can say is that those are different balls. I don't know what the difference. I understand the nomenclature of once it touches your hands, it's the receiver's problems. But you got to think a ball from Aaron Rodgers is going to be easier to
Of course.
secure than Zach Wilson or
But
Mike White or whoever's throwing
but
him the ball the
that
past
being
3 years.
said, Wilson Rod Wilson, he's not Mike White. Like if Rodgers doesn't trust you, it ain't coming to you. So Rodgers
I don't think
that
that's the
trust with
case,
and
though. I mean, well, it's yet to
no,
be seen in the big game scenario, but I know
all I'm
throughout
trying to I'm
the
not
two training
saying
games,
he
I
doesn't
agree.
trust
I
him.
100%
I'm
agree.
saying
I know what you're saying.
Rodgers needs to full trust in you to go to you or he will ignore you
Mhm.
like I don't know, ugly chick at the corner of the bar. He's gonna ignore you. He ain't gonna talk to you. He ain't gonna do shit, right? So Rodgers needs to have that trust. And I'm not saying he can't, but that's something I gotta see out of Wilson.
I think you're gonna. I think you're gonna. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the fact of the matter is, with Garrett Wilson, he does always find a way to make it happen, regardless of who's under center. So I'm excited to see what happens tonight. I think the 49ers defense is no slouch. I don't think they're near. No, I think they're in the same echelon as the Jets defense. But I think the Jets defense does edge them out. But I don't know. I think we're gonna be able. I think
Jets
Rodgers is
defense is
gonna be
definitely
able to.
better.
I
I'm with
think
you.
Rodgers is
Jets
going to be
defense.
able to come out and play. I think he's going to be able to ball against these guys. I'm worried about Brees on the ground just because I know their front four in San Francisco is pretty solid. They have a Bosa. There's a couple other guys on that line that are decent whose names I do not know because I'm bad at that. But, you know, the running game might be a problem. That's fine because when you have Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, there's really no worries. My question is, what's going to happen with his Achilles? Is he going to be cautious? Is he going to be, whatever? Because I'm in the mindset of I think Rodgers knows he's on borrowed time at this point, especially because he didn't win the vice presidency elect, and he's just gonna come out and ball because he knows he has it was originally supposed to be 3 from last year, but last year happened. So now I think the clock reset. He has 1 to 3 years ahead of him in green and white, at least, probably in the league. I'm sure he's going to retire a Jet, go into the Hall of Fame a Packer, obviously, but retire a Jet. And, you know, it's now or never for this guy. This guy, father time waits for nobody. We saw it with Brady. So we'll see what's going to happen. I do think he can still be, I'm going to say elite. I'm going to say a step below MVP caliber Rodgers. I don't think he can reach the heights of the MVP seasons he's had in the past, but I think it will be. I think we'll
Yeah.
see flashes, and I think it will be close. But I don't think he's going to be, the
For
guy
the
you fear in the
Jets
NFC North.
for the Jets' sake, I hope so. What I know is the last thing I saw out of him in Green Bay, and it didn't look like
That
Rodgers
last
to me.
season, though, dude,
And I know
that was
mentally,
like playing in Adam Gase's offense. You can't really
totally,
compare that.
but it's the last thing that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there were 4 plays in a Jets uniform, and unfortunately, God picked him that day. Okay, that's just what it is, and that sucks. The last thing I saw out of him didn't me in terms of who Aaron Rodgers is, who this guy, who I grew up hating, who ruined my life, right? Sports life for a decade. So for me, and I know on this show I'm alone on it, and that's okay. I got to see that it's still Aaron Rodgers. I got to see that tonight.
I don't
I
think
got to
you're
see.
alone on that. I think you're. I think you're
Oh, Jerry,
pretty
did we
much in the
lose you?
majority on that. I feel, except for us delusional Jet fans who are just look at the rose-colored glasses and thinking that this guy's God's gift to Green Earth, and it's gonna be just we're gonna get primetime Aaron Rodgers who should have won 3 Super Bowls. But we'll see what happens here. I agree with Bob here, where I think he's gonna cut it loose and he's just gonna put on a show. And I think tonight's gonna be a great game. But tonight, unfortunately, in a world where the overreaction is king, as you said at the before in the show, we're an overreaction show. Unfortunately, all of the NFL media is an overreaction type media, as is Twitter, not X. We're not cops. It's just if he plays well tonight, he's back. This is it. give him the MVP. We're going to be marching down Broadway, going to City Hall, ticker tape parade. He has a mediocre game. All right, week 1, whatever. He's coming off an injury. He'll find it.
Right.
He has a Caleb Williams game. Get this guy the fuck out of town. It's especially in New York where overreaction is the name of the game. You listen to the fan, you know how it is. It's gonna be.
I don't know. I don't give them my ears anymore.
Oh, okay.
WFAN lost me a long time ago.
Fair enough. But you know the game in New York. You know how it is.
Yeah.
It's going to be. It's one way or the other, and there's going to be no middle ground. So we'll see what happens here. I personally have high hopes as a delusional Jet fan. This is the second most I've looked forward to a football season in a while. I've been running around all probably Thursday through today just screaming Jet the fuck up to anybody worth a damn. I went to the grocery store today in my beautiful Sauce Gardner jersey. Nobody said nice jersey, dude. I was a little upset about that. But
you're also in enemy territory relatively.
I'm on the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
I'm on the line. North of me is Pat's territory. We have a mix where I am, but south of me is definitely New York territory. Stevie Mac, there he is. What's up, dude?
Shit.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the season. It's great to have, unfortunately last year the hype was tremendous. I was writing blogs. I tuned into every night at Hard Knocks. I was watching One Jets Drive, watching SNY, doing all this stuff. And then he got hurt. And then it kind of did take a back seat, but I was still kind of in the mix. This year, I just hope that's not the case. And I hope I'm locked in, Monday through Sunday, week after week, waiting for the Jets to kick off. So we'll see what happens. The 49ers, this is a great, it sucks to have this team, the Super Bowl losing team, on your schedule week 1, but it's also great to just be like, this is it. Like, I understand it's week 1, so you can't make every single judgment in the world, but this is a great game. Like it or not, this is
a great litmus test.
Exactly. You come out, even if we don't win tonight, and that's obviously we want to come out with a dub, but if we don't win tonight, but we play and we can compete and look like we belong, I'll be more than happy. Maybe not too happy because I have him -1.5 and I'm just overzealous, but also at the same time, it shows like, okay, this joke of a team for the past 15 years or hell, I think it's been 12 years since Sanchez's run. They can ball and look out for them because if you have them on your schedule on Sunday, it's not going to be a cakewalk. We come out tonight, we just ball the fuck out. Awesome. Let's do it.
I hope so.
Tonight, we lay an egg.
It's going to make the show so much more fun to be a part of.
100%.
It's just better when the Jets are better. It is. Most of my friends are Jet fans, so because it's also like when a lot of like New York fans when your team's not in it anymore, it's kind of like, especially if you're a hockey fan, you're like for the Rangers or the Islanders to start, or I'm waiting for the Knicks to start, another one of these years. And then, they're kind of into football for the gambling, but then that's really it. It's a lot more fun when, obviously I'm always into it. And then everybody around me is now because of that.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Absolutely. And it would help us tremendously if us the Niners a nice L to start the season. That's going to help us in December.
Yeah, as far as the Lions go, 100%. But also, it means more when you have a team. Listen, I'll never be the guy that lets a team on Sunday ruin their Monday. I don't think. I love football, but like I said, even with the Rangers, who are my one true love.
You're a better man than me.
But yeah, I listen. I had a conversation with myself in high school when I didn't go all county. I said, "Wow, you really just." Invested your entire life into sports, and what do they give you back? Nothing. And it doesn't owe me anything. I'm more than happy to do what I do, but also at the same time, that made me, kind of just take a step back and realize there's more to life than just sports. It's great, but it's an aspect of things. But that being said, when you have a team to look forward to on Sundays, Mondays, or Thursdays, you can rep their colors. You can talk to other people about what's going on and everything that's going on. Your friends look at you and say, all right, let's look at Will Hickey for a second here. In high school, as long as I known him, Will Hickey has been a die-hard Ravens fan. And I've done my entire life, I've done nothing but support his fandom for the Ravens. I watched the Ravens beat the 49ers in that Super Bowl in our friend's basement with Will, and was just more than over the moon to watch his team win a Super Bowl, let alone be with him while his team won that Super Bowl. And even week in and week out, I love Lamar. I root for Lamar. I want to see him win. It's the same thing. I have friends who are Bills fans where I think, like, I'm rooting for you guys. I want you guys to succeed. I want to see my friends be happy. I love this. And I hope it's the same for my friends with me and the Jets. I don't know. I'm a New York sports fan. I understand that we can get insufferable at times. We'll see how it goes. But when that sort of thing happens with a fandom, it's different. It's magical. And it's something that, as a Jets fan, even when Sanchez was there, and maybe I just wasn't as into football as I was back then as I am now, but even with Sanchez, like, it wasn't, we were underdogs. We were coming in as a wild card team. It was like, holy shit, we got in the playoffs. Holy shit, we won a game. Holy shit, we beat the Patriots. Holy shit, we're in the AFC Championship. But we lost both of them, but it's neither here nor there. Like, it was just unexpected. When you have a team that you can root for and be all about, I think that's great. And even with you with the Lions, I've given you, once. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say you were something. I wasn't rooting for you when you were the Lions we talked about before, Megatron and Stafford back in the day when they were going 0-16. But ever since they started to show some light, you've had nothing but my undying support. I hope for the same. It sounds like I'll have it, and you're obviously excited for the Jets too. But, like, it's shit like that. You know where I'm getting at? I'm ranting here. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
No,
saying.
I hear you. I get you. 100%. 100%. Listen, I got to go to Lowe's, and I got to get some grout for my bathroom. So,
Oh, God bless. Get the gun. You have a gun?
yeah.
Good.
No. Like actual mixing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mixing.
Okay.
No.
You're
Like
not. You're
the
not. You're not
powder.
doing the tube.
No.
This is home
No.
improvement stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We're both homers. Humble brag.
All right,
Sorry.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm still in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, Jerry. That's my friend Jerry. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We will see you Thursday, I think.
Yes, sirs and ma'ams. Jerry will be back in the cut on Thursday, and I will be here on Sunday as well. I'll be a hungover piece of shit, but you bet your ass I'll be there on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it, baby.
All right. We will see you Thursday. Let's go, Jets.
Yes, sir.
That's all I got.